Hello everyone. This is a video showing some of the improvements for 2016 PU1 on the sheet metal. The first thing I'm going to talk about is the improved and enhanced unfold capabilities. If you're familiar with IronCAD, the way we did unfolding before had a lot to do with each individual feature. So you have a stock, you have a bend feature, you have another feature inside of here, and it goes through and handles feature by feature unfold. And this is really what's required us to use things like the cut sheet metal operation. For example, if you wanted to cut this guy, you would typically drop a block out here as a part or something, or whatever type of shape, draw your shape, use the cut sheet metal operation to basically cut that, and basically it would go through this and handle this by feature unfold to give you a result. Okay, you couldn't just in other words, you had to use this command to give you that type of result. You couldn't just simply go in and actually just drop a cutout on this guy and actually expect it to unfold. It would always fail and not give you a result for it. It would actually either give you this whole solid piece back on the flat, or it would fail to unfold. It couldn't handle it. We've improved this capability in 2016 PU1 to support a lot of these conditions, and this gives us a whole range of new capabilities. For example, if we wanted to do exactly that same operation where I say, well, I wanted to cut through all of this in one shot with just a regular H block inside of here, I can now go in and unfold that with our regular unfold command, and it properly handles that. So that's a very very cool feature. It really kind of opens the doors for things like, if you wanted to make this smaller. Oops, let me get to hold that guy and make it a little bit smaller inside of here, something like that, and bring it down. You see people that make these little support cuts, patterns along here. If you wanted to use the pattern tool, you couldn't really do that before. Let's see if we can go in here to say we want to do a pattern feature. We selected our feature. We're going to select, we'll just use, we don't have that edge there, so we'll just use this edge as our reference. We say we want to create a linear pattern inside of here, or we say an edge pattern. We can just create this edge pattern in here, evenly spaced across that guy. It goes across the entire edge. We can offset this beginning, maybe 0.25, and let's see, that gives us a better offset there on the front. And the end, we'll offset it. Oops, don't need that big of an offset on the end. There we go. Inside of there, evenly spaced along the edge. Hit OK. Now we have that shape inside of there. I think I have one pattern over. I should hit that original pattern, but that's okay. Anyways, just give you the result, but now you can actually unfold that, and it can handle this. Before it wouldn't handle those type of pattern shapes inside of here. Also opens up the doors for a lot of other commands. For example, people always wanted to go into these particular edges here, add blends to it. You can now support this capability as well. This is actually a sketched bend in here. We can add it to these bends up here. You can't really add it to this edge. You couldn't add a blend to, but you can add blends to these edges, and it'll make sense for it to unfold inside of there. So you have that type of blending capability. We can go unfold it, and it'll handle those. Notice the blends will continue to process down. Previously they would fail. It would give you an error message saying these blend features can't unfold, but now it is handled. It also opens you up for the command that we used to have in 2014, but we blocked in 2015 and 16, that you couldn't use the trim command because of course it had to use our cut sheet metal operation to unfold. But now, since we had this new unfolding capability, we can go in and actually use things like sheet metal to sheet metal, or any particular part. For example, I'll just create a new part here and just copy it there for now. Take this part, move it over here for just, I'm using this as just a reference object, if you will. So we'll just place it out here like this. Say we want to cut something like that. We can use the trim command. We can now select our sheet metal part. We're going to use this reference face. We're going to say keep this piece over here, go ahead and trim it out. We can hide or suppress or do whatever we want with that piece. That's our ending result of our sheet metal. Kind of funky looking, but anyways, we can now go and unfold that. No problems, and handles that. So very big improvement on the unfold on sheet metal. And notice it is also much faster. Previously you would have to go and calculate a lot of things to unfold. It is now a much faster unfolding operation. So very cool enhancement in that regard. Another cool enhancement in the sheet metal is the miter and closed corner capabilities. These actually been enhanced to support a couple things. So let's start with the miter command. It actually has been enhanced to support not only your regular bends, in this case, this example, I'm just doing regular bends, but it will also support end bends and out bend capabilities. So even because in the past, when you create an end bend, out bend, it actually cuts material from your stock or adds material to it, but mainly cuts material and actually uses like a second leg stock. This has been enhanced so that it now handles that and take account for those type of bends. So much improved enhancement on that. But the miter tool itself, the main enhancement is basically the UI has changed a little bit in the dialogues here. So you just basically select your select your bend segments. Select our 3 bend segments here, and then you have your straight edges. And of course, I can pick the face, or I can just pick 2 edges, whatever I want to do, and tell it to go ahead and miter that. And of course, you get your miter operation occurring for you, and you always get your unfold capabilities just like you would in the past. Of course, it's much faster now to unfold, but it works really well. The big enhancement is if you're using the auto association on the sheet metal down here. So if you're making sure that you're using the auto associate entity, the miter tool will take care of all your updates or edits. So this is our original stock. I can adjust our stock. Notice all of our miter updates. So in the past, that would you'd have to basically redo all this, delete it, start again, and build that miter condition. This allows that to update. You can also go into your actual miter feature that you'll see that gets created inside of here, and you can access your bend. So if we wanted to change our bend slightly here, you can see that our bend will change and update inside of that, or any one of our stocks. So for example, maybe we wanted to change the angle of our top bend here. We can access this top bend, change its angle a little bit inside of here, and you'll see that the miter will update and handle all those conditions. So very nice feature. Gives you a lot of cool capabilities to enhance your sheet metal, especially with the miter conditions inside of there. Another key thing with the miter capability is if we may have to create another condition here just to show this, but if we just go and I'll just create another sheet metal here. Let's just hide this one for now. I'll create another quick sheet metal here. The one other advantage with the miter condition, or miter improvements, is say you have a bend, something like that inside of there, and you have another bend over here. Okay. Previously, your miters, you would take this bend and miter on the edges, but now you can actually do a more advanced mitering capability. That when you select this bend, you can actually pick these curved elements as well, or you can just go across them if you want. It's fine. We'll just pick our segments this way. It'll actually go across that edge there. If we pick that, go ahead and you'll see what I mean. Notice it actually went across those bend segments and handle those miter conditions on all those corners and those edges. And it even handles this condition very well. It'll actually leave this area open for you and actually miter these corners to give you that result as if you're creating a closed box condition, if you will. So very cool enhancement to the miter. So it's a miter across the bend is what it's really referred to. But again, that will unfold and give you the proper layouts or results for those conditions. Okay. Very cool enhancement. Let me go ahead and hide that one. Your closed corners give you kind of the same results. So if we go ahead and show this example, we can start with one condition here. So the closed corner handles the same behavior. So if we create 2 bends, this is regular bend here, and we have an in bend, I believe, or an out bend here. Doesn't matter. It's kind of cutting into the geometry. The closed corner command actually can decipher those and handle those. Previous versions, let me turn that off for now. The previous versions, you would actually create a little big block or something that hangs over here or gives you some sort of incorrect result. It is now handled there. And again, all this is still working with the auto associate, so if you make changes to this, it will handle those conditions for you, which is quite nice. The other option that I turned off when I first did this, I'll show you in this example, but basically when you do a closed corner, there is another option that's added here, which is this open bend region. So if we go ahead and do our closed corner, you see it actually creates this closed corner piece here. You can actually change that behavior if you want. If we do the closed corner, pick that element and say open bend region, what it will do is actually close the stock elements, keep this bend area open. People want that in some cases, and it actually comes in handy when you get more complex cases, maybe especially when you kind of get more like where one bend's bigger than the other. You may want to leave those open because the closed corner can look kind of weird if you don't. So that's a nice little enhancement for that option. Some other things that's been done with the sheet metal as well. Let me go ahead and hide this one, and I'll open this one. What we have in this case, wanted to show some other things for the sheet metal. If in case in the past the sheet metal does kind of handle overlapping conditions, but you don't really know that they exist. For example, if I add this bend on this edge up here, you'll notice this actually bend is overlapping. In 2016 PU1, we've added these the ability to draw these edges. Before, this would be a merged face. You wouldn't see this. You would see one complete face here, and you wouldn't even know that's overlapping. You also notice that on our blends here, these edges are showing up on all the blends. Just makes it a little bit easier to see from a visibility standpoint, but you can also see that you have overlaps. This condition is still handled if you build it in order, and it'll unfold properly, but it's just a good indicator to tell people that that's going to happen, and you want to know those things before you try to manufacture something like that. However, some people use our sheet metal for other things like building corrugated boxes and things like that. It's a good idea to know that those cases happen, but it will be overlapped in the real world for them. Other things that have been added, you can see some sort of handle indicators here to help kind of give you an idea which handles are what. Inside of this, it's more apparent when you're on the feature level. You can tell that these are your angle handles now. They were just kind of floating in space. We also added some new handles as well inside of here. We had some in the past. You could actually switch the side of these things and say, well, you want this this inside edge of this angle here. You could actually go and say parallel to edge. Do this type of alignment inside of there to align your bends for that. But you'll also notice when I right-clicked on that, it actually gave a whole lot more. Before we only had edit angle, switch side, and parallel to point. We've now added all the other options to where you could go in and say, 2-point. I could take that 2-point capability and align to that point. So when you pull it up, it would align to that. That's a very handy feature, especially if you are trying to build in place and you don't know what the angle is, or you don't have an actual parallel edge to point to. So that's a very cool handle to have access to, especially on the sheet metal capabilities. So those are some very cool enhancements on sheet metal. Makes it a lot more powerful in that regard as well. And I wanted to show one other thing that we did support with our lofting capability on sheet metal. If you do create a loft, we now support a square. This is kind of a square profile to an elliptical transition. So this isn't actual a full physical ellipse. In this case, it could be a circle that's rotated as elliptical transition as well. Either case, both of these should be handled either as the standard lofting profile or as your press bend loft can be supported as well. If you notice, it'll create that shape, and it is a loft to square transition. It handles the gapping, gap cuts that it needs to handle in these cases. Very powerful now, and it actually will unfold as well to give you a desired result with bend lines as well. It's there, over there. So that's a good example of that model. Very nice capability that can be used to give some detailed lofting capabilities inside of IronCAD. So a lot of these things put together really make a powerful tool, especially with the unfolding capabilities, using the trim commands, the lofting, and the miter tools really make the sheet metal stand out in PU1. I hope everyone enjoys.